darlings. It is day 13 of our road trip and we have the girls packed up in the car. Today we are doing more simple things because yesterday was such a big day. If you didn't have a chance to watch my video of Le Marin, the super sweet like movie set, amazing, gorgeous village, please head on up to my Instagram highlights where I save all the stories from this road trip and many other stories in my past. So please feel free to look through that. Today we are headed off to Fontvielle, a little village nearby that has a Friday market. It's supposed to be really sweet, not too big, not too small, and we're gonna do a little shopping for the weekend. And then for those of you who are following along on my bread story, we are going back to the bakery to pick up the famous bread, and I'll be sharing that with you as well. So come along with us. It's a simple day. A few other little things that I'll be sharing with you along the way. Bisous, and thank you as always for being here.
There's a winding road, no telling where it goes. Driving through days and nights, won't stop for traffic lights. And I really wanna know, if I'll ever figure out where the road goes. Even if I'm falling down, I will keep on searching for my highs. You can say I lost my mind, I will keep on holding my head high, even if the sky is falling down. Jumping from cliffs so high, trusting our wings to fly. Sometimes we're crashing down, but we get up and start from the ground. And I really wanna know, if I'll ever figure out where the road goes. Even if I'm falling down, I will keep on searching for my highs. You can say I lost my mind, I will keep on holding my head high, even if the sky is falling.
It's just so crazy, this tiny window in the back. It's all you have access to. You can feel the cold air just pouring out of this. Watch.
Even if the sky is falling down, yeah. The sky is falling down.
All right, everyone, here is our impromptu market lunch. We picked this up from the Arles market. It is fennel, and they had little bits of this to try. It's so good. And then another little tapenade. Tapenades are very popular in this part of the country, and this is a type of pepper. It's not spicy, it's just so beautiful with the color. You've got some prosciutto and copa, and those actually come from Spain. I really tried to focus on products from France, but this was what they had available. The apples are from the Limousin region. You've got some rosemary almonds here, and you've got brebis, which is a sheep's cheese, and one of our favorites, bleu de vin. You're here in melon season, you have to get this. It's from the Vaucluse region. Don't buy the melons from Spain. You want these melons from Vaucluse, which is the region that we are in right now. And it is just out of this world. And I brought this salt with me. This is a salt from a spice shop in Paris, and it's smoked. And they or sorry, they toast it. And in it, there's sesame, coriander, garlic, cumin, and this kind of salty and savory on the melon is perfect. We also have a little treat from our bakery that we've been obsessing over. And this is a lemon poppy seed kind of cake. And then of course, some olives. But now let's cut into the bread that we purchased, remember? So we've got 2 different types of bread from the bakery that I visited the other day. And you can go back to my post if you missed out on that story. This is a Saracen bread. They only make this on Fridays. It's a type of wheat that often is used in making gaillettes or savory crepes. And this is their other, it's kind of a pulpe bread. And this was another one that she had recommended that we try out. So let's cut into each one. Look at that bake. And then we'll cut into this one without me cutting my finger off. There we go. You see the color on that? Okay. So one of our community members, Deborah Lee, she started a great conversation with me this weekend because she noticed that in Le Marin yesterday, there wasn't a lot of activity out on the streets. Now this has been a something that's come up with, a couple of times with some of you, because one, you are picking up that I tend to not go to touristic villages normally, but also the tourists haven't returned yet. So even if I am, there's not a lot of people out on the streets. But why? I think what's interesting about this conversation is perception, and certainly one that is fueled by cinema and media. Now, for me, coming from the States, we often romanticize French culture in our media, in cinema, storytelling, and it has this sort of picture in our minds. We kind of think of these market days that are every day, where there's people out on the streets and you've got your baskets and your pretty skirts and French women and just all of this stuff. But that's really not true. It's not honest of a typical French village, which is actually very quiet, very closed off. Activity maybe around lunchtime and the dinner hour, people just moving about. Market days for sure are a way for people to socialize. You'll see them kind of pause on the streets, especially if it's a non-touristic place, and spend time outside. But it took me a little while to learn this. And what really made that shift for me was when I moved from Paris to Beaune, which is in Burgundy. It's a wine village, and I lived there for about 2.5, 3 years while we were thinking about investing in real estate down there. I had heard about all of these amazing, like, gorgeous wine villages, and like, you know, I got bikes, I rode through them, and I'm like, what is going on? What's happening here? Because like on all the streets, there's these beautiful little, you know, courtyards and or like little alleys with the volets, the shutters, and they're very picturesque, but nobody there. Like literally you could hear crickets. You know, it's like, what's going on? That's typical. Most French villages are very private. The people are very private, and everything that's happening is actually behind the walls. What is facing on the street are your exterior windows to let in light. But most of these places have an entry gate or way to get into the interior. And all these, like if you can imagine, the building is sort of a square with always like usually a terrace or some sort of courtyard. It's what's happening in the middle. People are in there. You have entire families and generations and friends and people meeting up, but they're behind those closed gates and walls. So while there's a lot of activity and things going on, it's not what you can see. And so it's not people on the street. If there's people on the street, they're doing something, they're going somewhere, perhaps gossiping a little bit during the lunch hour. But yeah, your French villages are, unless they're touristic, very quiet. To avoid a touristic village, don't go to the medieval ones. At this point now, practically every medieval village in France has a certain level of tourism just because of just the way they're built and the draw to that. If you want to be around that hustle and bustle and get that French feel and vibe, then look for a market day and you'll get that for sure. I tend to avoid it because I like the calm and quiet of a French village, especially since I spend part of my time in Paris. I get my fill. Great conversations. Keep the questions coming. I love all of your messages, and I hope you found this interesting and helpful. Bisous.